What's good? It's Jimmypocketts. We shot take 2-5 today and played two of the biggest pots of my life. I'm extremely nervous walking up to the table. I've been grinding 1-3 for about a year now. I know I'm ready, but I'm still fucking nervous. We buy in a little under the max for 800. Let's get into hand number one. 8 minutes in, we get ace jack of spades in the big blind. There's a limp, the button makes it 20 and gets a call from the small blind. I then 3-bet to 80, get two callers, and the flop comes queen 3-6. We miss, it checks over to the button, he bets 110. It folds to me, and I told myself before the session started, I'm not gonna shot take and play scared. I'm thinking we could get backdoor spades, even if he has top pair or a pair of queens. We still got an over, maybe we could hit an ace. And lastly, we just set him up for the bluff. When it goes check, check, and you're on the button, I almost expected him to try and take a stab at it. So I call, heads up, the turn is the 8 of spades. We pick up the flush draw. I check, don't want to unnecessarily bloat this pot in case we miss, and he bets 300. Puts me in a tough spot. This is a massive pot. I only got about 600 left, so to me, calling is not an option. I should be all in or folding in this spot. A call would just leave me too short on the river. I think for a while, and if I call and we miss, I'm down 800, only 10 minutes into the session. However, if we hit, I got some bread to play with now. Won't be short stacked anymore. I decided to jam all in for 595, and he snap calls, of course. Asks me what I want to do, once or twice. I say once, and boom, the dealer smacks down the 5 of spades. He goes, "Tell me you did not just get there." I show an ace-high flush, and this guy loses his mind. He's jumping up and down, throwing his cards, the table, and I see he had pocket queens for a flop set. He's like, "No fucking way, no fucking way. How do you only go once there? Are you out of your mind?" I usually try to keep my composure at the table, but I couldn't help but laugh in his face. That shit was pretty funny, how he was acting. I never seen someone that mad after losing a pot at the casino. Now, I've seen my fair share of storm outs in the private home game, but never at the casino. Either way, I'm feeling good. We just got a massive double up in the new biggest pot of my life ever, and we won it. Then we pick up queen 7 suited in the big blind. There's 6 limpers to me, basically the whole table, and I make it 20. Surprisingly, everyone folds, but I should have sized up a little bit more here, given that many limpers. I'm still getting used to the 2-5 opening sizes. 2 for 2 at 2-5 so far though, let's keep it going. Immediately next hand, we get ace-king offsuit. I raise a 20 on the button and get 3 callers, the small blind, big blind, and the cutoff. The flop comes 4-2-6 rainbow and it checks through. The turn is another 4 pair in the board. Now the big blind leads out for 50. I'm the only caller. I'm just not buying what he's selling. He's got a weak hand, maybe a 1 pair holding like pocket 8s or 6-7. Hopefully, we can hit one of our overs on the river. That doesn't happen though when the dealer puts out the 10 of hearts. He leads 50 and we let it go. Ace 8 of clubs and under the gun +1, and we open for 20. We get 2 callers, a small blind, and under the gun +2. The flop comes 2-3 king. Small blind checks, and I decide we're bluffing this hand. Gotta represent having that king. I c-bet for 20, and only the small blind calls. The turn, we smack the ace, but don't gotta bluff no more when he checks. We bet 40, and he calls. The river is a 5, a few straights complete, but doesn't really change much. So when it checks to me, I bet 100, and he calls. I show the ace 8, and half expect to lose, but we're good, and we take it down. King 10 offsuit in the small blind. Few limps, the button makes it 20, and we call. We head to the flop, 5 ways, a 4-3-8 with 2 spades. We miss, but I check and flow. Even if we hit this, I was checking anyway, and surprisingly it checks through. The turn is a 10, we bink top pair, with a good kicker. I lead for 35, gotta start building this pot, and then under the gun jams for 305. It folds back around to me. I think for a little bit, and I just can't get away from top pair and a decent kicker here in this game. I'm shot taking 2-5. and I know people are trying to bluff more and make moves at a higher frequency than 1-3, so I got a call. I call, and the river is another 10 giving us trips. He had the muck ready, was probably bluffing, so I just flip over king 10 for the trips. He chuckles a little bit and folds, and we take it down. But since we're shot taking, maybe I should have waited and forced the aggressor to show, follow the rules, just to gain a little bit of information. Ace Jack offsuit, few limps, and I raise a 20 from the big blind. The small blind and two middle position players call. 4 ways now, the flop comes 9 Jack 10. I was excited to see this flop at first, but then the small blind donk leads into us for 60. I think about 3-betting him, but decide not to and just call. He's not very deep, and if he flopped a straight or has a flush draw, he'd probably just jam on me if I 3-bet him. Heads up now, turn is the queen of diamonds. Just about the worst card in the deck. It completes the flush draw and puts a 4-liner to the straight. Now he overjams for 427. That's a massive jam, about 2x pot. This puts me in a tough spot though. Our top pair is probably not good, it's only a bluff catcher, but we pick up a flush draw, holding the ace of diamonds and a gutter to the straight. I mean, I'd probably snap fold to most people at this table, but this guy is just full of shit. He's been caught bluffing a few times already. 10 minutes ago, he donk jams his stack on the flop, almost the same exact scenario, got called by someone holding second pair and lost. It pains me, but ultimately I let it go, thinking there's better spots to get my money in on. But the skill gap at 1-3, between 1-3 and 2-5 is very noticeable. People don't do things like this at 1-3. I'm seeing a much more bluffy play style here from the entire table today. There's a lot of people trying to outplay you at 2-5. They're not just waiting around until they have the nuts and then bet like most do in 1-3. Now we play my new biggest pot of my life, just over 2K, with Ace King. We set that record on the first hand of this vlog, and now we're breaking it again in the same session. The straddle's on, and there's 2 limps to me. Mistake number 1, I only raised 35. Looking back on this, given the fact that the straddle's the 10, there's 2 limps, I definitely need to be opening for more. But this is my first time playing 2-5. I'm still getting used to the opening sizes. Anyways, 4 ways now, the flop comes 4-5-8. I check it, don't want to bluff into 3 people, and under the gun straddler bets 75. It folds to me, and now this guy just came from the 5-10 table. He's been talking about how it just broke. I think he might be trying to take a stab at it on this board, so I decide to float him with my 2 overs. I call. The turn is the 9 of clubs. I check it over to him, and he bets 150. Now I make another mistake. I call again. Floating the flop was fine, but I definitely need to be folding on the turn right now. The river is the king of diamonds. We hit top. I check, and he bets 300. This is where I make my most costly mistake. I'm thinking, he doesn't have pocket 8s, probably would have 3-bet me pre-flop. There's only one straight combination, 6-7. Does he really have 6-7? No way, right? I need to start folding whenever I say that, because they always fucking have it. He wouldn't call a big raise of 35 with 6-7. After the fact, I realize that's a small raise though, but in real time, I decided to jam him all in for his last 700. But really, I should just be calling or folding here. The jam accomplishes nothing, and of course, he snap calls, flipping over 6-7 offsuit for the flop straight. He's calling 35 pre-flop with 6-7 offsuit. Nothing I could do. Right when he showed it, my heart sunk. I've never felt so down at the poker table before. Just rethinking over the situation now though, I should have folded a long time ago and saved so much money. This guy's a 5-10 player. A 35 raise is not too big for him to call with 6-7 offsuit. I've never seen him get out of line in the short time that he was here, so I should have believed the story that he was trying to tell by his betting aggression. This one hurts. We were up loads like 1,200, and now we're up stuck, only up like 200. I don't want to go into too much detail about his appearance, but you got the old men, the OMCs, and you got the businessmen. They come to AC for their little conventions. Then you got the grinders. This guy was a grinder. They look like they eat, sleep, breathe poker, like they live at the table. And that's part of the reason why I thought he was trying to make a move on me. But whatever, you win some, you lose some. Let's get into the next one. King 10 on the button, and I raised 20 pre. The blind and one limper call. Flop comes 4-9-8. It checks to me. We got 2 overs, so I take a stab at it for 35, and only middle position calls. The turn is the ace of clubs. He checks. This is a good card for me to continue bluffing at. I bet out 60, and he calls again. The river is the 7 of clubs. Another check to me. I check back since a few straight draws complete, and the flush, it hits, and of course he flips over Jack 10 for the straight. Now I decide to lock it up, take my small winnings, call it a day. It's like midnight. Been grinding in the pits all day, in the poker room all night. Overall, it was a great day, winning at both, but it still feels like a bad day leaving up stuck from poker. I should have left 20 minutes ago when I was up like 1,200. We were in for 800, out for 876, booking a small win, but I'll take it. Most guys, they lose when they shot take. I'm very happy to book a win playing against much tougher opponents than I'm used to. The skill gap was very noticeable. I'm used to 1-3 players, and just playing 2-5, I can see the difference. For now, though, I think I'm going to stick to 1-3, grind a little bit, and shot take 2-5 occasionally, because even though my bankroll says I can handle playing 2-5 full-time, mentally, I just don't know if I can handle the swings of that game. The pots are very big, much bigger than 1-3, and that's just something I'm going to have to get used to if I want to move up in stakes. That's it for today, though. I'll see you guys on the next one.